Welcome one, welcome all, and we got week 2 of the Ferrari GT3 Challenge Series, and we are at a new track, so we are at Aragon. I actually quite enjoyed learning this track. It's a pretty good one, got a massive back straight down it, which will make racing very interesting. This reminds me a bit of Jerez, where you really have to abuse the track limits here and take a lot of curb. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into the lap, shall we? It's 1:59.3. I think it'll be fairly competitive. Like, judging from what the pros have done in their data packs, they'll be going quite a lot quicker. But in the sort of laps that they were doing were very unrealistic laps. You know what I mean? I don't think you'd be able to really replicate that on a lap-by-lap basis. I think, you know, top split-wise, this sort of pace will be fine, okay? And it's, you know, when I do my data packs, you know, do these sort of things, I always try to do the lap that I feel is repeatable, okay? Now, if you want to compare your lap to mine, I join my Discord, because there is a Driver 61 kind of program where you can compare your lap times to mine. So it's very useful. So yep, join the Discord and we'll get you up and running. Okay, on with the lap. Okay, so begin as we mean to go on. And what we're going to do is we are going to be looking at the 100, but we're going to mount the curb. Okay, I don't like to run the car all the way down the curb, down the straight. Okay, some people don't mind doing that, but I personally come over a bit more towards the end. So we're coming over here and we are looking at the 100. Okay, but we are braking a little bit before. Okay. I experimented quite a lot here between second and third. I think you can carry third here, okay? But second's probably... What actually am I in? Let's have a look. Second, yeah. Decided to go second. It's a bit of an optical illusion here because you've got this kind of bump, okay? So we're kind of trying to run as close as we can to there. But on exit, you can run very wide, okay? And... you know, like if you're keeping your right-hand side wheels there, then you're not carrying enough speed through, okay? So that's where sometimes maybe carrying third will help you to naturally carry that speed through, okay? So we can go all the way here. Now, the rules here are 4 wheels on the green is an off-track, okay? So as long as you keep 2 wheels on like the red and yellow curbs, you're fine, okay? But they are the rules for this track. So we kind of run this sort of line where we really tight to this corner. We don't drift out to the left and then turn right, because we can pretty much take this flat. I might do a little lift. No, I don't do a lift at this. I do occasionally lift there just to help. And again, you know, like if you're just concentrating on some crazy hot lap, then obviously you would just risk it every time. But, you know, in a race situation, or if you've only got 2 chances in qualifying, then you might need a little lift there, okay? Get a bit of a snap, but it's all fine. And again, we are using all the track limits, okay? You could even go a little bit further across, you know. Okay. Now here, you can change down into 4th. I was changing down into 4th quite a lot. It just helps to get a little bit of rotation. So a bit of a lift, change down a gear and kind of throw it in. And again, it's got this kind of like anti-cut bump, okay? You definitely want to avoid those because they do launch the car, okay? But at the same time, we want to be as close as we can to it, okay? And again, we can run wider than this, but we do kind of need to bring the car back across the track, okay? This is where the first real technical section starts. It's not the most technical track in the world, but there's a few braking zones which are tricky, okay? So this is a corner where we're going to have to brake and turn at the same time, okay? Which means we can't use too much brake here, okay? So we're going to try and straighten the car out as much as we can. And when we get to apex, that's when we're going to start braking, okay? But again, not too hard. So as we see, we're up at only just over 50%, okay? And again, this is one where we can track right out wide if we want to, okay? As long as we keep 2 wheels on the curb, okay? So as you see here, I didn't drift out as wide as I could have done, okay? Into this one again, you can get a little bit loose on the rear. If you are struggling a lot under braking, then push the brake bias forward, okay? I've left it at 53 throughout the lap, okay? Again, I don't like adjusting it a lot Okay, and I know a lot of you guys just don't play with brake bias at all. So I don't, if I can do it without, or it doesn't gain a load of time, then I won't. Okay, again, I'm learning this track. Okay, maybe more laps in, I will kind of develop. I will change the brake bias more. Okay, as I get more comfortable. But for the minute, there's nothing majorly off with it, I don't think. Okay, but you do have to be a little bit careful on your brakes. Okay, so this is another corner again where we can run the car really out wide. Okay, and if we're going to be aggressive, that's what we're going to have to do. Okay, so we run it really out wide, and we're going to keep it on the curb. We're cutting as much of this as we can. Okay, there is so much temptation just to think, well, that's where the rubber is on the track, so that's where I'll have to go, and then cut in. But you're just doing too much distance. You really want to be cutting this. Okay, another difficult corner. This is the corner I struggled probably with most, actually, because you have to let the car drift out and then back in, and under braking, the rear can break traction. Okay, so you kind of have to brake quite early and not too hard because you're turning, but you don't want to sacrifice too much speed. Okay, so as we see, we never get really above 50%. Okay, again, second or third gear is fine here, right? Second helps with that kind of bit of rotation and getting the kick out, but third gear just feels like you can just carry that bit more speed through. Okay, so depending on how you want to do it, and again, we're not focusing on the line, we are trying to get into our heads that we can use the whole track. Okay, so running down here, I always try to run the car right down the middle. Okay, I know I've said this before, but by running the car down the middle, it's then the most stable under braking. Okay, you don't really want your wheels on the curb when you're braking, because it's more likely to kick in the ABS. Okay, now I was going to brake in between the 50 and the 100 here. You could probably brake it even later. Now on this corner, I don't carry in quite as much speed as I would like, and when I was comparing this to the Pro data packs, this was where my time loss really was compared to them, because I just didn't quite carry in enough speed. I was a bit too cautious here. Okay, but it's kind of tricky complex. So here you can kind of carry in more speed. Okay, and that's because this left-hander is a very long radius one, so you don't really need to set it up by coming back across to the right probably as much as I do. Okay, so I've come right across. The trouble is you need to get on throttle in between the two corners. Okay, so there is a bit of a gap here between the two corners, so you need to get back onto the throttle. You will lose lots of time if you don't. Okay, so you need to do that, but at the same time, the next corner is a very slow corner. Okay, so you have to then be on the brakes and really train it round. You need to take a lot of the green stuff and really turn hard. Okay, it's a hard corner, you know what I mean? Like it's not easy. It'll take a little bit of time. How much do you cut? How much do you not cut? I've put in a lot of lock there. Okay, and again, this next corner is one where you can run it much wider than you think. And again, I haven't really carried as much speed through as I could have done. Okay, I could have been carrying more speed through here and just running the car wider. Okay, I could have been out here. Okay, so that's something for me to work on, as I go forward. Okay, but I'm just letting you know. Okay, again, we have to run right out to this curb. Okay, because if we don't, we're not going to open up this corner as much. Okay, and this is a bit of a lift on this corner. There's no doubt about it. Okay, so we're just coming down. We're trying to take as much curb as we can. I've taken a lot there, probably a lot more. So I think this is probably the line through here, but the pros seem to be running it a bit more where they hook the wheel on the curb. Okay, so again, things for you to try, but essentially this corner is a little lift and then back on, and again we can use all this curb. Again, I didn't use as much curb. I could have been on throttle earlier here. Okay, so this is definitely a section I need to work on slightly, but as I say, my times will be fine for top split. So another kind of tricky braking zone here. Now, you don't need to cut because it's more important that we set up this next corner, okay? So we're kind of coming up over the brow. Now, I'm looking at the lines here. So we've got one line, okay? And then here's the second line where the curb starts. And that's where I'm kind of like, as I get to the line, that's where I'm starting to brake, okay? Again, we open up the corner by kind of going right over it onto the curb, okay? And we're braking quite hard. Now, you can, again, another corner where second or third's fine, depending on if you want the rotation or you want to carry the apex speed, okay? This lap I've carried third, and I think it's better, okay? We do need to get back across to the left-hand side somewhat, though, because the next corner won't be flat otherwise, okay? So if we carry too much speed, we won't be able to carry this one flat, okay? So I have a tiny little lift, okay? Probably more for confidence than anything else. And again, we're going to cut this corner so we just keep the two wheels on the curb, okay? Just two wheels on the curb, and the car gets a little loose. You can see the steering, I've had to open the steering a little bit. And again, as long as we keep two wheels on the curb, we're fine, okay? Now this is another corner which I struggle with compared to the pros, okay? Because this sequence leads up to the big main straight, so you have to set that corner up perfectly, okay? But I was probably a little bit cautious into here. But again, this is a corner where the rear can break away from you, okay? So this might be a corner where you want to push the brake bias forward. The only problem is, obviously, you don't really want to do it while you're turning into this corner or this corner, because this corner you would struggle for rotation slightly if the brake bias is too far forward. So then you're trying to click it forward here, all while trying to make this corner where your rear is a bit loose, and you don't want to change it here because it's too late before the corner. So that's for you to decide what you want to do, okay? But I found the rear was kind of over rotating quite a lot through here, which is why I was kind of going a bit cautious. And again, if you're an alien driver on a crazy hot lap, then you probably don't care about that, because you just take the risk that you're going to make it through. But in terms of a racing lap, I think this is fine, okay? So we're turning it in, and again, probably carry more speed, okay? I'll probably tighten this line a bit more than I needed to, because I really want to open up this next corner, okay? So I've kind of really opened it up, because this corner is absolutely crucial. Now, again, on throttle as early as we can. This little bump here will absolutely send you into the heavens, so don't touch that, okay? But we are trying to get as close as we can to it, okay? So there's a little bit more in there, but it's fine. Okay, and again, we're running the car right out onto here. I probably could have carried a little bit more speed through. The traction control is kicking in here, but the car, I could have carried a bit more speed and just had the car push out. But again, small margins in this game. Okay, so now we're down the straight. I mean, this must be one of the longest straights out there, surely. I know Cota's got a long one, hasn't it? And I mean, Spa's got the Kemmel, but I don't think there's anything on this, I'll be honest. It feels like a very long straight, but it is just a straight with and nothing else, really. Now, here again, so this lap I don't, okay, but lots of laps I was mounting this curb in a similar way, okay, where we're just going, we kind of like got our wheels either side of the curb, okay, and then we're turning in. I was finding that it was making the car a bit unsteady. I think it is faster, okay, when you get it right, but I found this way you could brake a little bit later, but then obviously the corner's a bit tighter. So it's up to you how you want to do it, how confident you are braking on the curbs. Obviously experiment with it and just see what works for you. I think I will be doing the route where I mount the curb going forward, but just for this lap I was just trying something different, and it was okay, and the lap itself was pretty good. So that's why I've done it this way. So we are braking right up to 100%. Okay, which is not something that you can do on the curb, because you will kick in the ABS, okay, and the wheels will slip too much. But we can literally brake at 100%, okay, and we're looking at the start of the curb, okay, so it's quite easy from that point of view. Now, this corner is really tight, okay, you see how much steering lock I've got on here. Now, when you get this corner right, you just want to kind of stab the throttle a bit, okay, and that helps to bring the car around. We're in first gear here, okay, so you know what the Ferrari's like. Under acceleration the rear can come round, okay, so but we would kind of want to use that just to kick the rear around, okay. It's a skill, okay, it's pretty hard to do. This is maybe somewhere where you want to active reset and just keep trying, okay. I don't quite nail it this time because I've just picked up a bit too much understeer, and again, it's probably because I've experimented with the line and I've gone a little bit too tight, okay. So a little bit too tight. Again, we've got the anti-cut. You can just see it here, So be careful of that. Okay, and then as I've got on the throttle, now the car's rotated, but it's rotated a bit too late in the corner. Okay, so yeah, tight margins. Obviously, it will depend on how the traction control kicks in. Okay, but like the pros will kind of like get to this point and then manage to kick the car around a bit on throttle, and then they get a much better exit. Okay, I can't do that every time. Okay, sometimes I get it right, sometimes I don't. Okay, but yeah, this line is fine. Okay, you know what I mean? Don't, you know, if you can't do it, you can't do it. You know, it's like I don't quite do it this time, and the lap time's still okay. You know what I mean? Okay, so here, this isn't flat. Okay, now I short shift into third. Okay, so obviously first for the last corner, up into second, and then short shift into third and give it a little lift because the car, the rear of the car will come round. Okay, so it's just lifting off a little bit. Okay. Getting as close to that anti-cut as we can, and then we're back on. Okay, so it's a very small lift. Okay, so we're coming round, yeah, just a small little lift, correct it, and we don't need to get too far over to the right hand side here because this corner is easy flat. Okay, the last one is easy flat. Okay, as much curb as you want, and there we go, across the line. Okay, so that is a 1:59.3. Like, let me know how you get on. You might even do a bit better after a while. Obviously, learn a new track is always difficult. Okay, my advice would be to probably use your active reset. Okay, go do an out lap, set your active reset point, and then just practice over and over again. Just every time you crash, just bring it back, and that way you kind of learn the start of the track, and then eventually you'll learn the end of the track. There is no substitute to just laps. Okay, just do lots of laps. I know it kind of like, you know, we're all pushed for time these days and stuff, and you maybe you're doing lots of different series and that. But honestly, when it comes to like a new track, it's just all about putting the time in. Okay, just putting the laps in, learning. Obviously, watching this track guide will help. Okay, go back to the start of the video as well. Watch the lap again. Okay, have that up and have your screen up. Okay, so you do a few laps. Refer back, what corners are you struggling on, refer, you know what I mean? That's what I do with the pro data packs. Okay, and that really helps me get up to speed. Okay, and I'm just, you know, trying to pass the knowledge on to you guys in maybe a slightly easier way than what they do. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys. We'll be back for week 3. I definitely want to get some racing done here. It'll be really interesting to see how this track races, so hopefully I'll have a video up at some point this week of me actually doing the race. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. See you next week.